Hi, everyone. Welcome to our panel hosted by Darn. It's okay to be undecided and picking a major. We're going to let everyone enter into the room, our lovely Zoom room, and we will get started in about 1 minute. So it's great to see everyone entering in. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight and just getting to be with us on behalf of Darn. We are so excited that you guys are here, and we have amazing panelists that we're about to introduce and let them introduce themselves, just giving everyone some time to get into the Zoom room, especially if you were at our last panel. Awesome. I'm seeing everyone come in. This is great. Like I said, this is the It's Okay to Be Undecided panel in choosing a major. So welcome everyone. My name is Mackenzie. I'm going to be our moderator for tonight. I am a regional admissions counselor at Oklahoma State University. But enough about me, let's meet our panelists. Cecilia, we'll start with you and kind of go down the list in alphabetical order, just introducing yourself, your university, and how long you've been in admissions.
Perfect. Thanks, Mackenzie. My name is Cecilia Granson. I'm a senior regional admissions counselor for High Point University, located in High Point, North Carolina. I've been in several different roles, but in the admissions world for going on 6 years now.
Hey y'all, my name is Sydney Welch. I am a regional admissions counselor for the University of Central Arkansas, and I'm actually in my first year of recruiting, but as an undergrad, I was working in admissions as a student and did internships here and there. So first year professional.
Good evening. My name is Jill Davis, and I'm a senior regional representative for the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. I am the Texas representative, so I live in DFW serving Illinois. And this is my sixth year in admissions. They all sort of start to run together, but this is year 6.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We have about 30 minutes together, so we will go ahead and get started. We know students, you guys submitted questions before this panel, so we're going to go through some of those questions. But if you have questions throughout, go ahead and drop those in the Q&A below, and we will try and get to everyone's questions as much as we can. And then if you have a specific question for a specific university, all of the universities are going to be able to put their information in the chat so you can reach out to them directly. But let's go ahead and kick off with our first question. So do I have to pick a major before applying to a university? And what is a direct admission major? So Cecilia, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so do you have to pick a major before applying? It depends. Some universities will make you declare a major. Here at High Point, you do have to declare something, whether it be a major or you are declaring you're undeclared. So not really sure what you want to do. And what is direct admission? And it's so funny because with all of our years of experience, I hopped into this Zoom room and I was like, y'all, what do we mean by direct admission? Because it can be so many different things with so many different universities. Here at High Point, we have direct admission for certain professional programs. For example, like PT or PA, if you have a certain GPA and a certain test score together, you can be directly admitted into that professional program. So that's one version of direct admission.
Do you mind? Is it okay if I add, Mackenzie? Hold on. Okay, cool. I just wanted to add to Cecilia's perspective, which was perfect. So at the University of Illinois, all of our programs are direct admit, meaning that a student has to declare their major on their application. They're reviewed in the context of that major, and then they're admitted for that specific major. So you're going to see, of course, like Cecilia mentioned, a range across different universities. Every university is different, so always we preface with it depends. But you'll see some that, like Cecilia mentioned, will have select programs where you're directly admitted. There's no additional requirements to get in once you're on campus. And then you'll see some like us that all of our programs are direct admit, meaning you are admitted for that specific program, and then changing your major once on campus can be a bit limited for those programs that are direct admit.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for the clarification of those things. So hopefully that is more clear for all of our families too. Okay, so what is some advice you would give students and their families starting the college search process? So we'll have everyone answer this, but Sydney, you can go ahead and start. So what's some advice you would give students and their families starting this search process?
Honestly, the biggest piece of advice is, really get to know your admissions counselors. See who's going to be like over Texas, because like all of us, we are out of state, and we have representatives who are specific for this area. So don't be afraid to call us. Like, we're not scary. I know I can speak for me. You can send me a text at the same number that's listed. It's a cell phone, and I'd be happy to text with y'all if it's less intimidating. But really get to know them, because we love to answer questions. And for like my family, I was the first one to go off to college, and my dad was just like, I don't know what to do, so you're gonna do this mostly on your own. And I understand it's like so scary. So some of us have been there, and really just take a breather. Don't stress out about it. Have all of your documents ready to go. For UCA, we just require like test scores. Right now we are test optional, but we could be going back to requiring test scores. We don't know yet. Immunization records, things like that. We don't require an essay though. So be organized. Excel sheets for me worked. For other people, it could just be like having a list on a Word document. Find what works best for you and then stick to that. And if you just need help along the way, don't be afraid to reach out, because we really want to help you find your future home, whether that's with us or another university.
I think I would encourage students to be really open. There are probably some universities you feel really comfortable with, and maybe family members have attended or friends have attended, or you grew up always rooting for this school during football season, so you feel really rooted in that university. But I think at this point, especially if you're still figuring out what you want to do, you're defining your interests, be really open to all different universities. And I think that's why DARN is such an amazing resource, because we have universities from all over the state of Texas and all over the nation represented. But I think it's important in this early part of the search not to feel closed off to universities that you might not be as familiar with, because we all have amazing things to offer. So be really open and willing to learn about some of these universities that might not sound as familiar to you, because you just never know what gems you're going to find.
I love that, Jill. Yeah, being open-minded, that's one of my biggest pieces of advice to students. Kind of took what I was going to use, but it's okay. I have a second piece of advice. Find something that is different that you really like about universities. You'll find that most of us offer the same majors. If you're looking for something that's very popular, like psychology, criminal justice, business, we all have wonderful degree programs and faculty members and students that go on to do great things. So you're really going to have to find those differential advantages in a student in a college. What makes them stand out? What do I really want in my future college? Do I want a certain club or organization? Do I want a certain culture there? So dig a little bit deeper once you maybe narrow down the list a little bit, and find those differences that are going to make something or a university stand out.
Yeah, that is all really great advice. So our next question, Jill, we will have you answer first, but would love all of our panelists to answer this question. If I have no idea what I want to major in, how can I narrow it down?
I think, and I'm just going to keep my advice brief so we make sure there's plenty of things for us all to say, but I think just think about what you enjoy spending your time doing. If you sit looking at your English homework every night and you just struggle and you want to rip your hair out and it makes you want to cry, maybe an English major is not for you. But think about those subjects that you do enjoy and what you enjoy spending your time doing. I also would, and I hope I'm not stepping on myself, but I would also just talk to your parents, because I think often your parents and your mentors, your guardians, your teachers can see strengths in you that maybe you can't identify. So just spend some time figuring out, one, what you enjoy, and to maybe what your strengths are. And that might include going to some mentors, some teachers, some parents to help identify those things, but figuring out one, what you enjoy, and two, what your strengths are to kind of narrow the path.
Yeah, just going off of what Jill said, A, do you love it? B, are you good at it? And C, can you make money at it, right? Because we have to make money to make a living. So what's your passion, what's your skill set, and what's the economic opportunity within that? But also a really great way to narrow it down is to go out and do some job shadowing. For example, if you're interested in becoming a vet, there's plenty of vets in the area and they're happy to have you in their office shadowing them, showing you what they actually do on a day-to-day basis. So you can actually know, I am interested in this, or, oh man, I'm so glad I spent a week there because I definitely don't want to do that. So internships, job shadowing while you're still in high school, over the summer break, or maybe even early within your college years can really help narrow it down.
And I'm just going to say, like, echoing everything that has already been said, but I've actually done a fun activity. I used to be a grad assistant teacher for kind of like a welcome to college course. And this was my favorite activity to do with my students. And basically you just write out everything you've done up until this point. So like I'll pick on myself, for example, I was a radio and TV broadcasting major. On there, I had all kinds of things involving theater, being a camp counselor. I was on the radio for 3 years at my high school, you know, like little things like that. And I started to notice like it went towards education and radio and TV broadcasting. And I even did this when I was in my master's program. So it was just like fun to see those trends. So find things that you love, things that you've gotten awarded to, all these like little things about you. And then you can find those trends, sit with your mentors, and then you start to see like little things. Like I watched my students, their eyes lit up. They're like, do I need to go change my major now? And we're like, that's up to you. Like, let's have this conversation. So again, you can do this now. You can do it when you first get to college, because it's totally normal to change your major in college. I will go ahead and say that now. But it can be a little scary, but don't let it scare you. It's just a fun adventure, basically.
And just to add to that too, don't feel the pressure of having to have your whole life figured out right now, because you don't. If I looked back when I graduated years and years ago, I never would have guessed that I would have been in the role of admissions. It's kind of funny. Most people don't seek out an admissions profession. We kind of just fall into it one way or another. We all have our different stories, but sometimes it's a lifetime profession. So just because you don't have it figured out right now doesn't mean you're not going to be a successful individual in the future.
Yeah, that's a great thing to add, Cecilia, because yes, it could seem like there's a lot of pressure right now and having to decide what you're wanting to do for the rest of your life in this next year, but know that you have time and that is totally okay. Okay, so this question might be the best for you, Jill, and then if anyone else wants to add, they can. But what do I do if I apply to a specific major and I'm not admitted to that one?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I want to preface with it depends. Our process is similar to some of our peer institutions like UT Austin, for example, but every university is going to function differently. So what I can share with you now, you know, it applies to Illinois. And so just take it with a grain of salt that it might not be the same everywhere. But in our admissions process, you declare your major on your application and you apply directly for that major. You reviewed for that major. For us, we can either admit you directly to that major, we can deny you outright and say that you're not a good fit for Illinois altogether, or we can give you an alternate offer, which would be for a different major. I think that is a good time that if you get an alternate offer to touch base with your admission counselor, like Sydney said earlier, get to know us, because our whole job is to serve you and make sure you have a successful admissions process. But it's a good time to have a conversation with the university and with your admission counselor about what the process looks like of coming onto that campus and then maybe potentially changing your major. If your heart is just set on biology and you were given an alternate offer to something else, what does the process look like of changing your major if you know that's what you want to study? Or my other advice would be look into that major and see if it actually fits your interests, maybe even better than the one that you thought might fit your interest in the first place. We often do this with our computer science applicants. A lot of them have interest in computer science, but their interest doesn't fit exactly what our program is looking for. So we'll give them an alternate offer into programs that we feel like their essay and their extracurricular activities reflects more. So I think one, talk to your admission counselor and just see what the process is, see what the options are, maybe why the decision was made, and then take a little bit of time looking into that alternate offer to see if it is something you'd be interested in. But having a good understanding of what the process is of changing your major once you're on that campus is going to be really vital if you have your heart set on one specific thing.
That is great insight. And I love how you preface that every university is different. So the universities that you guys are interested in as you're applying to, really look into and seeing what their policies are, because it just drastically differs from one university to the next, for sure. Okay, is there anything we didn't talk about today that you feel like we should know as students who are going into college, maybe undecided? So Cecilia, we'll start with you.
Yeah, recently I see a trend in universities offering specific and very intentional programs for students who are undeclared or undecided. And I think that is such a great thing to seek out if you, A, don't know what you want to do, or B, bouncing between 2, 3, 4 different majors. A lot of universities out there are giving students intentional programming, helping them figure out what they're good at, what they're interested in, and a best fit. So talk to the universities and the university reps, asking them, what will it look like? What will my journey look like that first year if I decide to come in undeclared? What are my support resources? What type of support will I get from faculty or the career and professional development department? Ask those questions and figure out what that'll look like before you get there.
So what I'm going to say is it's going to probably sound like something you'll find on Pinterest, and it's going to be really cheesy, but honestly, go in with a positive mindset. You know, like we've talked about, just like, don't let it loom over you. Don't let it like make you feel like you have to have your life figured out at the age of 17 or 18, because I'm sure all of us can probably say, either from our own perspective or people that we know through college, everyone has changed from what they wanted to do at the beginning to where they are now. Like all of us, we fell into admissions, for example. There's not a major for that. But I will say the really cheesy part is I always used to call it undecided, so excited. One of my best friends in college used to say that on her tours, because she really didn't know what she wanted to do, and she was a sophomore, and she didn't let it get her down. She remained positive about it. She tried all kinds of different classes. She would talk to different professors. She would really try to figure out where her strengths were. And I've seen a lot of people, they would get bogged down by it, but if you just go in with that positive mindset and just know you're going to learn so many different things, both inside and outside the classroom in college, it'll hopefully, change your perspective and still give you an amazing college experience, because college is honestly what you make of it.
Just really quick, just to echo my colleagues, it's okay to come in undecided. I think especially if you're looking for a university that is structured like Illinois, is highly competitive, and you're going in directly to your major, I wouldn't want a student to ever feel pressured to declare a major on an application if they truly are undecided, because in a university like Illinois, it is difficult to change your major once you're on campus. So better, if you're just really trying to decide between multiple things, to come in undecided. There's no stigma about it. No one cares. You're going to college, and that's the important thing. So come on in undecided, and don't feel pressure to declare a major if you're not ready, because some universities like my own, there are certain steps you have to take in order to change a major, and it's not always super easy. So again, my biggest point of advice would be to touch base with your admission counselor before you click submit on your application, just to make sure you totally understand the process and you're making the best decisions you can to have a successful admissions experience.
Awesome. That is all great advice. So, okay, we have a couple more questions. And I want each of you guys to answer this question. Sydney, we'll start with you. Will you guys just kind of share more about job shadowing? Is that important for college applications? Should it be a week-long job shadow or a summer-long? What should students be doing?
Yeah, I would say just from my personal experience, I couldn't do a week-long job shadowing. I would go to radio stations, and I was more radio than TV in my major, but I could only go for like one show. So either the morning, afternoon, or late night, just because it was their policy. But on our application, it's not like pertinent to, really stand out. We really look at like, do you meet the requirement, like the GPA, the ACT or SAT scores, those kinds of things. But I will say, if you're someone, especially if you learn hands-on, like you learn by doing, job shadowing is just so great because you can already start to learn like, okay, I was really interested in this part of the job, but I wasn't interested in this. And then that can help you even feel out what kind of classes you want to take if you want to stay in that major. And then see like, okay, I really didn't like this aspect, so I don't want to take this class, but I want to learn and enhance these skills in these other classes. So for UCA, it's not pertinent, but I just always recommend to do internships and job shadowing just to learn and network with other people.
I would say for the job shadowing and the internships, don't do it for the application, do it for yourself. This is an opportunity for you to grow. Don't do it to grow your application. We go to college to develop ourselves and develop our minds and to create opportunities for ourselves years in advance. Don't do this one thing just to get one admit letter. But to say that, I mean, any university who does a holistic review, we are looking for you to be involved in certain things. And we truly want you to be involved in things that you're interested in. Sometimes it's pretty easy to point out that Susie Q was in 20 different clubs and organizations, but she only spent 1 year, 6 months in it, wasn't truly involved, just wants to list a whole bunch of things on her application. So do things that truly interest you and things that are going to set you up for the future years in advance, not just for a college application.
Yeah, I don't think I have too much to add. Just to say job shadowing is great. I think it's a great tool for exploration. Like Cecilia mentioned, I will say again, touch base with your admission counselor. There are some programs for Illinois are highly competitive engineering programs. We're looking for students to have hands-on experience in that area in order to be competitive for admission. So a job shadow can often be a great way to sort of get that hands-on experience and add it to your application. So I think, do it for you, do it for the experience. If it's something you choose to do, not by any means going to be required for a successful admissions process, but touch base with your counselor and figure out what's going to be best to have a successful process.
That's awesome. I like how you guys said, do it for yourself, not for your application or your resume, because those experiences really do help you figure out what you want to do maybe further on in life. So that's great. Well, we have 3 amazing universities with us tonight: High Point, UCA, and University of Illinois. So something I wanted to ask you guys is what specific programs do your institutions have for students that are undecided? So we'll go ahead and start with Cecilia and kind of go down the line. But yes, are there any specific programs that each of your universities have for those undecided students?
Man, how long do I have? I can talk on this for a long time. So High Point actually has a very intentional program for students who come in as undeclared. It's called Project Discovery. And it first sets you up with a student success coach. This individual has a master's degree or higher and no teaching caseload. So they are dedicated to making sure that the high schooler has a successful transition from their high school campus to the High Point campus. And they're also there to guide you and mentor you and to provide you with what resources and pathways are available to you at High Point. We will also enroll you in a 1-hour credit course called Exploring Your Major and Career Path. And through this course, you'll be able to take different assessment tools, personality tests, and connect with professionals in different fields that you're interested in. So you can ask them what they actually do on a day-to-day basis. And you'll have different coffee with counselors, coffee with the career and professional development advisors. So it's really a network of support that is helping you along your way in your journey and giving you the resources and the information that you need to make an informed decision on what your next step for a major is going to be.
I'll just go ahead and jump in. So at UCA, we have different opportunities. One of the more popular ones is our Journeys to Success class, also known as ACAD 1300. We call it both. That's the class that I actually co-taught. So we did have students who were declared, but we also had students who were not declared. And like through those activities, we were able to help discover different paths. We also have in our residence halls for the first year students as well as on campus. So if you are a commuter, we have this opportunity for you as well, where they're called peer coaches. And what they do is you take a assessment after your first 4 weeks of classes, and you just tell us how your college experience is going, basically. And we, talk about, are you homesick? Are you having test anxiety? Are you trying to figure out a major? All these little things, and your peer coach will look through your results with you and really just dive into those different trends. And they are other students, like they are students who have been through this before. They know what you're going through. Another thing is talk to your academic advisor. You're going to get assigned one. And I even say, take it a step further. And in some of your classes, if you really connect with a professor, or after summer orientation, there's someone on campus that you just really connected with, keep that contact alive. Our campus is a nice, happy medium. It's not too big and not too small. So you can really get to know people and make those lasting connections. So that way, if you run into this, like, what should I do thing, you have someone who is there in your corner to help make your college experience better and then point you in the right direction of the proper resources on campus.
I'll say the University of Illinois is a large public institution. We have over 50,000 students total. So our students coming in undeclared are not going to get as much of a personalized experience as some of my smaller peers might be able to provide. But I think what's great about coming in undecided, especially for students who are truly trying to figure out what the heck they want to do with their lives, is that our academic advisors within, for us, it's called the Division of General Studies. That's where our undeclared program is housed. So our advisors in the Division of General Studies, they truly are academic advisors. A lot of academic colleges on our campus will have their faculty also act as academic advisors. So they're both professors and advisors, but coming in as undeclared gives the students a chance to work with advisors who truly are professionals in advising students, helping them figure out what they want to do, what their strengths are, and helping them guide them in the best direction possible within the University of Illinois and the majors that we offer. So students can absolutely come in undeclared, and they're going to get a personalized advising experience where their advisors are well trained and well versed in getting students to where they want to be on our campus.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. This is all the time that we have for this panel, but if you want to refer back to this panel, a recording of this will be put on our DARN website next week. So that will be exciting, but thank you guys so much for joining us, panelists as well as participants. And we hope you guys have a great evening. We'll talk to you later.